Hello everyone, and welcome down to the Night Revels crypt in the middle of, well, towards the back end actually of the Night Revel event here. I've still proudly displaying my phantom horse from the raid. It shows up very well in here, colours wise, in the dark. So yeah, I used to love glow in the dark as a child. Around Halloween time is, I guess, one of the times when we most would see that kind of thing. That and the pumpkin lanterns. Right, sorry for interrupting the Druid series, but I really did want to sort of wrap up the whole Artificer thing post update 70 change, and the one thing we hadn't covered, of course, was the return back to 1 and the journey, up into Epic, which, as you can see from my level, I've now accomplished. I'm very pleased to say that it's not nearly so painful as I was expecting. In fact, the journey has been as smooth, if not smoother, than ever. So don't let the change put you off trying Artificer. Yes, Tom, that one was aimed particularly at you, but just people in general. Don't be put off by it. It's a little bit different, and there are certain things that you could do before that perhaps you can't do now. But it's opened some doors as well, and I hope to cover a little bit of that in the time we've got. So yeah, just to say, obviously the rate of fire is slower, and the fusillade is not sort of all conquering as before. But the AOE's are hitting harder because there's the same number of shots that there were before on the heroic AOE's, but we've got full double shot on them now, so that's a nice thing. Also, and this is a big also, there is the opportunity for another one from the inquisitive tree, because when they were doing the update 70 they also gave the inquisitives, these two here are both now AoE. So this opens up some real tasty options for us for a third AoE. This tree in general, alright, there's a lot of stuff this stuff down the side. It's pointless us putting anything in there because it's working only for non-repeating. That's fine. But there's still some good stuff we can have. So for instance here I've spent 12 points. I've got +1 attack, +5 double shot, 2 dodge, plus another 3 attack, 1 imbue dice, and this is the big one. Now whenever I did inquisitive in the past I always took shoot later, and that's what I was focusing on this time around, but you need 20 plus points in the tree to take that. And as I'm not blessed with a whole lot of racial points on red, that was going to be a stretch. But also, if we look here, we can see that although it's a real nice damage dealer, crit multiplier, crit threat range, all that kind of good stuff, the cooldown is 15 seconds. And yet for this little thing down here, I noticed that we're on a 6-second cooldown only, so it's the same cooldown as the sniper shot in the deepwood tree, so very very short. And well, there is a bit of a damage over time going on there as well, but generally speaking things are not really around long enough to take that. But the plus 40% damage on a 6-second cooldown, I thought that was really nice. I mean, the ones I've got here are, what are they? Are they 10 seconds, 12 seconds even? That one, 12 seconds and 10 seconds. So it's half the cooldown. So it almost makes sure that you've always got an AOE up when you want one, which is great. Yes, it's not the heavy hitting, extra crit. All that stuff of the big one, but you've got to pay for that. I mean, for those of you with more racial points, or if you just want to go commit more to this tree, the reason I can't do that is because I've put a few more points than I normally. I've got 7 more in Harper than is strictly necessary. I suppose technically you only need the 8 to get the know the angles, and you can stop there. Intelligence to hit and know the angles. But even with those 7, I'm still not getting to the 20-point threshold. The good stuff is, well, that's an imbue dice, so that's nice. True seeing if you don't have it on your build, that's nice as well. The big attack obviously, and then there's an extra imbue dice there. And then if you go really crazy, you can have 10 ranged power, bonus to all saves, max dex bonus on armor, which is nice, and another bonus imbue dice, so that's a really good one. The problem there is you're then into the realms of having to take sort of filler stuff to reach that one. And in my case, I just don't think I have enough points anyway to reach that. I would have to sacrifice things that I'm not prepared to, like maybe even some of my points in Harper. I might not even have enough for 8 in Harper. So I think I think I'd have to lose the deflect arrows in the tabaxi tree, and I don't want to lose that. So I've gone for the cheap and cheerful option really. 5 double shot, 1 imbue dice, and this nice AoE on a short cooldown. And I found maybe at the cap it might be a bit more toothless, I don't know. But plus 40% damage on a 6-second cooldown as an AoE. Doing all our... that might be a way to get back some of the crowd control element that we've lost from less shots. Because we have quite a bit of crowd control-y stuff going on at the cap. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Once we acquired it, sort of maybe mid-teens in the heroic leveling, we were really doing well, because there are sort of downtimes with these two. 10-second cooldown, I tend to do one followed by another, and then there's a gap during which we have to mop things up. Well, whereas when that thing's there, the gaps are much reduced. Also, if you, like me at the cap, if you have a rune arm that does not do anything for breaking boxes, this thing's great for an AoE box breaker, and as it's on a short cooldown, I don't really mind usually putting it on a cooldown to break the boxes, and then I still have these two if I need, you know, in an emergency or something. So yeah, I think this is going to be the build that I'm going to try. Why Tabaxi instead of Warforged? Well, Warforged, we've finished the racial lives. I would always advocate Warforged for one of these ranged arty builds if you don't have the Warforged lives done, or if you just have a choice of races to do. The Warforged tree's got so much going for it for the build. Tactical DCs for your special attacks here. Repair amp, which is something that we just can't get. In fact, I've made a significant error here. I just took some little fillers. These things, they're alright. 1 range power and 3 spell power per point invested, but it occurred to me, as soon as I mentioned repair amp, there's an easy 2 points here. For a start, 10 hit points is nice for 1 point invested. But then we want that as well, 20 repair amp, just for a couple of points invested, so that's lovely. And I've giving up basically nothing, a couple of ranged power and a bit of spell power. So I'm glad I've caught that. But yes, in the Warforged tree, 15 ranged power, 25 universal spell power is just a really good tree. Extra fortification if you want it, some con as well if you want that. Just a really good synergy with what the build is trying to do. So why did I go in the Tabaxi? Well, I needed to choose a different race, and this seemed okay. We don't have intelligence, so I'd not taken anything in the cause here. The plus max dex bonus in light armor isn't bad, but we've got one of those in the first core anyway. An early sneaky dice, very nice to have. You might recall that our epic Shiradi thing, Stay Good, gives things 25% chance to be blinded, so vulnerable to sneak attacks. Let's just throw some more double shot in there, call it good. Bonuses to attack, more bonuses to attack, not amazing, but still it's like the equivalent of more accuracy on the gear, so that's nice. I threw that in just as a bit of a filler. After falling you can get a bit of a bonus. It's not something you rely on, but if it happens then great. Deflect arrows, amazing. 6 points in this tree would get you that, so that's an awesome one to have. Another sneak attack dice, a straight 3 bonus on damage, which is very nice. And then we've got this this feature with the run speed for leveling, especially if you're just wanting to fly along. By the time you get to the end here, we stand still for 3 seconds and we get 18 seconds of 30% speed boost, and this synergizes particularly well with what we're trying to do with this build, because we're always trying to stand still when firing to trigger our archer's focus. You might recall I don't use IPS. Well, 2 biggest reasons. First of all, the 20% penalty to damage, which would go on all 3 of our AoE attacks as well. Even if we had no stacks of archer focus, we'd still take that 20% penalty. So I don't like using it for that reason. And also, while in an IPS, we're not stacking the archer focus, so it's kind of a double penalty. So I don't use that. And this sort of tallies, you know, the stop, shoot things, move on again, and almost invariably when you move on again you're getting this 30% bonus. Like if you stop to open a door, go through the door on the other side of the door, because you've been stood still a second or 3, you've got this sprint boost going. So I really like that. Evasion, very nice to have in heroic for a change. This build normally has to wait until level 26 to get it from the Shadow Dancer 3rd core. I may remove that point when we get to that stage, but still very nice to have. There's another defensive option here I did consider, 9 lives, but while below 20%, now if you're regularly going below 20% there's something wrong, and in the more difficult content there's not too much difference between below 20% and dead with red, so I chose not to take that one. So yeah, some nice things in there. I hadn't originally planned to go, you know, the whole lot in this tree, but I found I like the sprint boost, the you know, bonus damage and sneak dice. That's, you know, what we're trying to do as well, so it seems to tally well with our build. I much prefer investing these points this way than just like topping up in this tree, you know, this line here, just a bit more ranged power and spell power. So that's the essentials that we would want. We can put I don't particularly fancy this core, by the way. 3 wheel saves isn't bad, but the search for trap thing will get that anyway with Watchful Eye in Shiradi or whatever it's called, so I haven't bothered spending on that, and I just don't have enough points to get me up to the next tier, so I haven't gone into there. We just want to redo these things, don't we? And a couple of points in there. I could take another point in intelligence. I'll just balance it out when we get to the cap. If we're on an odd point of intelligence, I could just take another point there if we need to. So that's where we're at with the build. I think the standout thing from this life has been the acquisition of this new AoE from the Inquis tree. Whether you decide to go for the big one or the little one, I think you'll find it does make a nice change to the leveling process. obviously we just hit 21, so we just got the benefit of the expanded clip, which now gives double shot instead of expanding the clip. And we can see there, double shot's gone crazy. So we're into the hundreds already, and so the bonus damage now to our AoEs will be, actually I'm not sure where it's getting all that from. I think there might be a bug with the display there, but if that's correct, that's really good. I'll happily take that. Okay, I just wanted to, before we do our traditional quest with these things, wanted to take the opportunity as well to go through just quickly the night revel things, in case any of you are sitting on some ingredients and wondered what might be good to spend on. Obviously, if you're cosmetic fans, there's plenty of stuff to grind for, horses and cloaks and you name it. It's not really my thing. I did back in the day grind a red horse for red, because obviously that's his colour, but I drew the line at doing it. They just seem so expensive, these. Look at this, 240 of everything. The green one would have been the same as my druid fool's gold armour, but I didn't bother. So plenty of cosmetics if that's your thing. Pets as well. And then we come to these consumables, sorry, these clickables rather. I have tested these. Now they've doubled the duration for this year. Last year for 20 seconds I was thinking not bothering, but this, particularly for our build, we can see +5 range power and +10 universal spell power. So we're benefiting from both aspects of that. Obviously the spell power benefits our imbue. So that's what I've gone for on here, and I'm remembering to click it reasonably well. The only thing is, if you're moving at the time, you might either just stop moving for a bit while it drinks the potion. I would recommend stopping, because if you don't, sometimes it just goes on cooldown and you don't get the bonus. I'd recommend taking it while you are standing still. Also, there are PRR for your tanky needs, MRR and dodge. That's the MRR one. They have put an amusing little mechanic in there to prevent you from using more than one, though. If you take two in short order, you get this nauseated effect for, I think, 20 seconds. So definitely find the one that your build is best suited for if you want to use these things. They're really cheap in terms of ingredients. And just stick that one on your bar and don't bother about the rest, is my advice. So those situationally quite nice. More cosmetics. Is that yellow Reaper armor? I don't think I've ever seen that. Absolute piles of cosmetics. Right, and then we come to this Hood of Unrest. Really nice to have. Again, you've got to remember to click on it. My 3 characters all have one. It's just a really nice thing for if you're in a tough old situation, getting beat up on, just or you're getting ready for an end boss. Maybe you just want to stand there and fire if you're a ranged character. Stand there and pour out your endless fusillade without having to worry too much about incoming damage. Hit the Hood of Unrest and suddenly 50 extra dodge, because the bonus ignores the dodge cap, so that's very nice. Super defensive clickable, but it is on a 10-minute cooldown. I'm only highlighting the stuff I particularly would go for. Reveller's Regalia, really nice one for casters. Or if you happen not to be a caster, but you have a caster in your group, and because you can give it to others, the bonus. Same for Hood of Unrest. If you have a tank in your group, you can send that on to them, much like our Artificer can send the radiant force field onto the tank, so I could potentially put the dodge bonus and the radiant force field before a nasty boss fight. And this one you can do to help a friendly caster if you're not a caster yourself. It's a very nice bonus to a spell crit damage. The only problem with this one is if you are in anything other than robes, it's going to take some time to re-equip your armor. If we just pretend like we clicked on one there, and if interrupting the flow of the quest is a concern, then perhaps don't use that if you're not in robes. Rune arm, not terrible. Ghostly is always nice to have, so if you don't have another source of ghostly, could go for that. My rune arm at the moment, I've shown it before, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but Animus from late heroic, from the, is it demon or devil assault in the marketplace. I'm using this because it's craftable. You can see I've got all my magnetism on there for my electric imbue. Bows, I suppose, again, Ghost Bane on there if you want something to be able to hit the ethereal targets. There's nothing specially stand out to me, at least. The weaponry, cloak, yeah, some DR on there. It's not terrible, but I think there are better options. There is a nice clickable for, I think it's this one, the Shadow Robe. Yes, starting from level 8 you get a clickable nightshield. I quite like the level 16 one. We get 3 charges of 14 minutes of nightshield, but obviously you've got to wait until 16 for that. So if you have no other source of shield or nightshield clickable against the magic missiles, that could be a good option for you. Again though, well, I suppose you would do it at the start of a quest, this one, when you're buffing, and then just forget about it, so the de-equipping and re-equipping armor is a bit painful, but unless you're running with a group that's really flying along, you could probably still do it. Nothing particularly outstanding there, I don't think. Oh, and there's some newer level 32 versions of the stuff. It's still got the same caster level 14 down there. That's why I recommend the level 16 one if you want the nightshield clickable. 3 lots of 14 minutes should be ample for most quests, and shrines are a thing if it's not. Okay, so that's the main gear. Then we've got these consumables. There's some nice stuff in here too, not least Ruby of Ghostbane. Slot into your weapon to be able to hit the ethereal targets, amongst which are the Reapers, of course. What's that endless night? Is that the neg level one? Yeah, negative level on Vorpal hit. That's not terrible. Now these are very nice to have, even if you don't want them for your own builds. You can make shards on them on the auction house for selling these, I'm sure. Festive Con, Festive Wisdom, Festive Intelligence. We'll be putting, I dare say, Festive Int on. Oh, will we? Maybe I don't think I have any more gear to add. So no, Red will have to do without Festive Int until the cap. He does have Festive Intelligence and Festive Con, I think, on his gear at the cap. Now then, what to do with the leftover chocolate? Potion of Deathward, nice option. And the other one, which is probably a better option still, Potion of Restoration. Often you go through a life when you're struggling to cast resto scrolls and suffering from neg levels or stat damage and such like. If you're a melee in particular, a nice stack of these will go a long way to keeping you safe. I'd say prioritize those over the deathward, because there's so many deathward clickables in the game. That's the earliest and best one in my opinion, the skullduggery cap from the salt marsh. But at level, when you go into epic, you can have the dust cart from the sands, which is an AoE deathward, so nice for a group. I think I've just about covered all the nice things from there that I wanted to. Right, let's finish off with a quest or two. So this is, you might have noticed I've got a sneaky XP potion there. If you're doing the night revels, it's highly advisable when doing them for the first time to throw a potion on and take advantage of the huge bonuses the huge XP that they give. You've got to do the 5 stars to get these, but generally speaking, you just by going through the quest, it's fairly linear and you get your 5 stars anyway. Even at low level, remember this is not, there's no Reaper or anything, it's still normal. So this is level 39 but normal quest. So they're just big bags of hit points basically, the opponents. So I'd encourage you to try on that, even if you're sort of low epic, to get the maximum amount of experience you can for your character. Give you a real kickstart in early epic, these can, when the event is going. Yeah, I should have got the dust cart out of the bank. I've been lazy and haven't done it, so we're having to make do with this cap now. Still 15 minutes though, it's nominally 10 minutes, but remember the Arti gets another 5 minutes thrown on top just for being an Arti. So a lot of these clickable items, clickable things like Good Hope, that's another clickable that I should have that I don't have at the moment. That would last 10 minutes for us instead of 5 minutes for the other people.
You'll need to find him before you can face the Minotaur chieftain.
So we've got a lovely mixture here of these 3 AoEs and this very nasty single target pluck of the string, which, as I'm sure I've mentioned before, let's just show you the feline agility. We wait, and boom, off we go. Yeah, every shot we fire, all 3 shots in the clip benefit from the pluck of the string, which has extra crit chance and all the good stuff. Crikey, I'm making a terrible mess of this. Okay, that's our first star.
Grimsby the Necromancer hands you an enchanted key. Now you find your way into the secret village.
See, again, without sort of trying for it, I was just standing still because that's what I do to fire, and straight away we got the speed boost again. Obviously when running away, when kiting away from a boss, if I'm the only one against said boss, it's not going to be helpful there. However, if I've decided to take a stand against that boss and then suddenly realise I'm taking too much damage and need to kite, then I'm going to benefit from that extra speed to get me away from it. So it's still going to be helpful. Where's the pumpkin? There we go.
Mass of pumpkins and vines rises from the swamp. The supreme
Lovely stuff. I don't have to bother with all this, do I? I just need to get to the thing at the top there, the ballista thing. Ah. Another lovely upgraded salt marsh item. 3 charges of invisibility, as well as being a nice item in its own right, that ring. Lovely stuff. And yes, I don't need the speed on it because I have speed from my epic quiver of alacrity, so I don't need the topaz of swiftness. Lord knows why I put that in there. Silly boy.
By the depths. Minotaur skeletons patrol.
Okay, so 3 skulls. I think we've got to kill some minotaurs. That's part of the objective. So if I don't complete that in here, I need to bear that in mind, that I need to still do it.
You remove the necromancer's talisman from your pack and hold it out toward the gate. Before you know it, a portal appears.
Let's try and find a cozy corner where we can just fire away from.
How brave of you coming to face me. But when I kill you, you'll regret making the trip.
Not too bad. I think there's a bit of lag that's helping us because the enemies aren't really doing too much. And we've got the assassinate minotaurs thing as well. That's good. Now apparently, somebody told me recently, if you kill everything, Doris has an additional dialogue for you at the end, both in the normal quest that this is based on, the Lord's March quest, and in this one. We're not going to get that here because all we've done is the bare minimum. But look at the experience you got there. Crazy stuff. And a Ruby of Shock, which is perfect for our build. Okay, I think I've shown you what I wanted to. That we're experimenting with the speed in the capped tree, speed and evasion early, sneaky dice. The sneaky dice will be more influential if we have other people taking the attention, but we have a very good way ourselves of making them vulnerable to sneak attack, the blindness, which triggers very reliably. So yeah, it's just a shame that if it doesn't factor in the double shot, so you don't get 2 chances to trigger blindness. But I don't think we've been too badly done to. I think this extra double shot is really helping us, certainly not hurting us anyway. And the art is in as good a place as it was before, post change. So no need to worry about giving up the class, unless the only reason you were invested in there was the speed of fire, which, I mean, given that the server couldn't handle it much of the time anyway, I would say we're in a really better place, because at least now many more of our shots are actually connecting with the targets, as opposed to just disappearing into thin air, particularly in the raids, which was absolutely infuriating for me in the past. Okay, I think that's all about all I wanted you to see. A little bit on the nice things you can get from the Halloween event if you haven't already, and just to say that I'm pretty optimistic, if things stay the way they are now, for the future of the ranged arty builds. Thank you very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.